So, at 153, Stephan Bonnar is going to take on the pound-for-pound MMA king, Anderson Silva. Why? Don't know. Well, because Jose Aldo got injured and Frankie Edgar's not going to fight him. And this is the fight that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've been wanting Frankie Edgar to drop down and weight for a long time. I think a lot of YouTube, tons of people that have agreed with me. But I made a video about him, about this fight happening, and it got a plethora. It turned into a giant forum and a giant argument about why Nick Diaz called Anderson Silva out, not for the belt and not for the pride, and certainly not for recognition. It was for who's to see who's the best in the world, and it would have given them both proper preparation time. This started in September. So September, say it's the 9th month of the year. It would have given them both at least bare minimum 6 months to train, both of them, for to fight each other. Had Dana White start to make this happen. Instead, he gives it to the American Psycho, Stephan Bonnar, who the only thing I can think of as far as a highlight reel, he's getting thrown around by John Jones. And this is no diss against Stephan Bonnar. Stephan Bonnar is a tough motherfucker. And on my forum, there's actually something that says he can beat him with his wrestling, he can hold him down. Remember the Anderson Silva's no joke off his back. He was getting beat down by Chael Sonnen, beat down on the feet, on the ground, everything by Chael Sonnen for 5 rounds a couple years ago, and pulled off an amazing triangle in the 5th round. So, I mean, he's the champion and the best in the world for a reason. Nick wants to challenge this and, set it up. He's on suspension, true, so he can't fight right now, but at least set it up. At least, make it so, Nick knows that when he comes back, he's going to fight the best, and let Anderson know that when he comes back, he's going to fight the best in the 170-pound division, since, George St. Pierre and Carlos Cons are going to fight, to merge the interim and the real title. We'll see what happens from there. But I know Nick didn't have any interest in that. Nick Diaz wanted to fight Anderson Silva at a catchweight, at 185, at 170, regardless of where it was or where it took place or what happened. He wanted to fight the best in the world to come back to. Dana White says no, it makes no sense in any universe, only because he heard this on Twitter. So make your voice heard. If you feel like Nick should have got this fight or should get this fight, and maybe even after the Stephan Bonnar fight, after UFC 153, coming up in early October, then let's make our voice heard. At Dana White on Twitter, tell him how you feel. If you're a Diaz fan, then and you agree with me that Nick should have got the fight, and it makes no sense in the fucking world to give it to Stephan Bonnar, then make your voice heard. But it's turned into a really big deal. I didn't expect my video to blow up like it did. But it blew up like it did for a reason, and Nick Diaz actually liked it. He watched it and hit the like button, and it took off from there. He's actually a faithful subscriber and supporter of mine, and my electricity bill actually got paid because of Nick Diaz. So really, I've been a fan of Nick Diaz since 2006, 7, earlier. 4 or 5. I like Diaz right after the Lawler fight when even Joe Rogan was saying this guy's a jiu-jitsu fighter and he's standing up with Robbie Lawler, and he ends up with the 50% punches and knocks out Lawler. Lawler's falling against the fence and saying that he's not hurt, and Nick Diaz knocked out Robbie Lawler. Look who's still surviving. Nick Diaz to this day is still thought of as one of the best pound for pound in the world. Best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Top 10. Easily. Nick Diaz, easily. Anderson Silva, no question. There's no question this guy's the number 1. So, maybe give him a tune-up fight. But after that, I would love to see it. Make your voice heard. And at Dana White, make this fight happen. I want to see Silva versus Diaz. I would love to see it. Who wouldn't? Why not? Why not? Wouldn't it be the boxing? I'd have to give the edge to Nick Diaz in boxing. In just hands. In just hands, I would have to give the edge to Nick Diaz. In kickboxing, I would have to give the edge to Silva. Jiu-jitsu, I will definitely give the edge to Nick Diaz. Again, I'll give an edge to Nick Diaz. There's two edges right there. And wrestling, that seems to be the chink maybe in the Diaz armor is the the sense quo. But I mean, who knows? Who knows what they've been up to? Especially in preparation for Nate's fight in December against Benson Henderson. Who knows? So regardless, we're going to see Stephen Bonner fight Anderson Silva as opposed to Nick Diaz when you could have had proper preparation time. And, they could have made so much bank on it. I mean, think how much that pay-per-view card would make Nick Diaz return against not only just a welterweight, not a welterweight, but a catchweight versus Anderson Silva. Think about that draw. Think about that money. I mean, it would be insane. So, fighting Diaz, you would need the best boxing available. You need the best trainers available. You would certainly need to be able to stop their unique style of boxing, and that hasn't been solved yet. No one's been able to really solve that puzzle, that riddle. That they're 50% little pitter pats, and then if they see an opening, they'll rip one 100%, and that has not been solved yet. And until that's solved, I mean, no one's going to beat the stock and slap. And during jiu-jitsu, if it hits the mat, I'm gonna give it to Diaz. I mean, Evangelos Cyborg Santos was fighting Nick Diaz on in Strikeforce for the title, and when that happened, he was kicking the shit out of Nick Diaz's legs, and I thought, man, he's gonna win TKO by leg kicks. They were getting so vicious. It was kind of like a Jose Aldo Uriah Faber type of deal, and he took it to the ground, and immediately Nick rolls for an armbar. Not only that, I mean, Santos fought it for a while, but Nick got it. They're Cesar Gracie black belts for a reason. They're Cesar Gracie black belts for a reason, man. And when Nick has a sparring partner in boxing like Andre Ward, an Olympic gold medalist, you're in for some shit, If you're going to spar with an Olympic gold medalist all the time, and roll constantly, and train every day, you're going to be a bad motherfucker. Just like Anderson Silva. This thing these are two huge names in MMA, and it would make a ton of money on pay-per-view. I don't understand why this fight's not making any sense to Dana White in any universe, as he put it. So, make your voice heard on Twitter, at Dana White, hashtag Diaz Silva. Make this fight happen. Make this fight happen. I want to see it. I'm sure any MMA fan, especially in preparation of Nick coming off suspension, we want to know who he's going to fight. We want to know who's up next. Maybe give him a tune-off fight. Maybe meet Silva at a catchweight. He just wants to prove he's the best in the world. Let's let him prove it. Who else is left to feed Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva has proved time and time again he's the best in the world. Who else is there left? Let's see this happen.